Okay, so all chosen ones or whatever have a very, very, very all real chosen ones that are called to bring people out of the darkness or whatever have a deeper, deeper understanding of the Most High, because the same thing that we went through or whatever that we go through is the same thing He went through. For example, I already covered when they look down on Him and He's the Most High. Whatever people that were rich and they were kings and queens, they couldn't understand why they weren't the Messiah or whatever because they had physical things, but they were completely ignorant into knowing why that doesn't that gives you status here on this world. On this world, it gives you status to other people that are still in, that are lost, and they're like, oh, we've all been there before. We all kind of been like, oh, I want this, I want that, until we woke up and realized that stuff doesn't matter or whatever. It's just temporary toys, and it's just temporary toys that you can achieve for enjoyment or whatever on your stay down, on your short stay down here, until God decides to end your life, and then you go to the afterlife. So we'll just say that. So when you realize that, it's like you certain things you just ain't gonna do for a dollar or whatever, because you know the repercussions for it, you know the judgment for it or whatever. People that follow Satan or whatever, they just do temporary things or whatever, just to be flashy, just to impress people that don't matter, and they can't vouch for them on Judgment Day or whatever, and they can't take none of this stuff with them. So yeah, it's nice or whatever, but most of the time people who are real flashy like that and just all about this and look and stuff like that, they do that to put on for people or whatever. Because real people, they don't care about stuff like that. It's like that's just, it doesn't matter. I've been in their life before too, and it's like I can't really stay around certain people and stay in darkness for too long, because it's kind of like it's just as an empath, you be lost for a while because you don't know who you are and you suffer trauma, but overall it's just not in your heart and your soul to do nothing like that. So you just go through it to be able to experience a lot of hardships, so you can overcome it and be able to bring other people out, so we can say. But it's just like, do y'all remember? Okay, when I first got online, remember I don't talk to people, and I know a lot of people talk crap about me behind my back because I've heard it through tarot readings or whatever. People talk about your past. People say you're doing too much online. People will say this. People will say that. People will say whatever. People gonna always have something to say, and people are gonna always have something to say about those people too. So it is what it is. But one thing that if you look back in the Bible, they said when came down here and said he was the Most High, they said he was blaspheming or whatever. So when you blaspheme or whatever, it's kind of like you're just speaking. They looked at him as kind of like a witch. Oh, he's a devil. He's speaking false. He's just speaking falsely or whatever. They just made it seem like he just didn't know what he was talking about. He was mocking God or whatever, and he really wasn't him. But you could tell by his actions and the way that he spoke that he was who he says he was. Just like me, when God brought me out and chose me and said, I'm giving you these messages or whatever, and I put you through this, and this is what you're to do. The first thing people do is they look down. What? She doesn't have this. She doesn't have this. Why am I not the Messiah? But do you see the ignorance behind it? And when people who are ignorant or whatever, they will never see it any other type of way. People who are not truly connected to God, even if you just claiming you connected to God, true people who are connected to God, they don't think like that. That's like me seeing Shelley Lubin or whatever. And many people, and I talked about this before, and many people were saying that she was online looking for attention or whatever. And she inspired me in a major way to get up there. And I'm already honest, but to get up there and just own your truth or whatever. And when you a person that can own your truth, it's like the people will have a hard time touching you or whatever. That's why they have to do certain things to try to make you feel insecure. Just like, for example, nobody believed me about the gang stalkers. But everybody knows that when you awaken in this world, and it alerts, especially when you were lost in darkness or didn't know who you were, it alerts certain spirits and people, and they want to follow you because the first thing they want to do is have someone on you. That's the purpose of gang stalking. They watch you. They want you to know that they're watching you just so they can try to put someone, yo, she did, or whatever. Just like little silly stuff that people, if they really just got themselves together, they would see that in their mind they're being watched or whatever. I told you guys before that the universe, if tarot readers can go back into your past, read your Akashic records or whatever, your past, your life, whatever. If they could just see that or whatever, and then if you're online, if I'm constantly sharing tarot readings online or whatever, just even if I stop and people read tarot, anybody who's skeptical of that or whatever, it's like if you go to that, you know that that they're being honest. Now everybody isn't a godly tarot reader, and I discussed that before. Like in that Al Pacino movie, the devil, he knows knowledge too or whatever. But if you go to a really, or if you, just in general, if you really go to tarot, they're going to tell the truth, because in the spiritual world, we can't see the spirits and the demons that are watching us. We have angels around us and we have demons around us at all times watching. The demons come and they getting people, and certain people, they just come in your life to try to destroy you. That's why when people say this person was sent by the devil, or a narc was sent by the devil to destroy you, it didn't literally mean that he was sitting up there plotting with the devil to come get you. Or no, it's just the spirit in them was sent. There's a demonic spirit in them was sent your way, or whatever, inside that person, just to try to destroy you. And they knew that you were kind of like, let's say, you'll just say naive to the wickedness of others or whatever. So we'll just say that. And I don't want to touch on that narc subject too long, but you get my point. It's like people just, the devil likes to use people to do certain stuff. When the devil cannot find anything on you, it's like, or, because I told you for a year they've been doing stuff. It's like they get mad or whatever. That's one of the reasons why I'm always ahead of stuff. Not every single time, but I know the truth about a lot of stuff because I read tarot. And if people stop being all into that, people need to stop being so, what's the word, naive to when it comes to certain things. Just like there's people that are evil that practice stuff, it's people that are good that practice stuff. In that movie, Drag Me to Hell, did you notice how, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm going around in the store, but did you notice how Drag Me to Hell, the movie, how the little boy came to her in the beginning and he had a demon in him or whatever, and she was, you would call her a witch doctor or whatever, but she worked for the light because she was able to get the evil spirit out of him or whatever and drive him out. And she tried or whatever, so we can say that. So when you dealing with demonic people on that type of level that are sending stuff your way and doing stuff in the spiritual world to block and do stuff with your just demonic stuff, hacking whatever, stopping your destiny, causing chaos, it's just whatever. When you're dealing with stuff like that, yes, you can pray, but you have to speak out. I break every curse, blah 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 blah. That's speaking stuff into existence, just like the Most High can speak stuff. And I'm learning that you have to say, people who are evil, and this is what I've learned from John Ramirez's story, whether I feel like he's a liar or still in it or not, people who are demonic, they keep going and going and going and going and going because they don't have a choice. When you're in the spiritual realm and you're a Satanist, and even if you don't appear to be a Satanist, the devil doesn't really let you rest, because it's like they do a lot of stuff that you would never even believe they can do. They can astral project or whatever, do a whole bunch of stuff that if you say it out loud, they're gonna immediately look at you like you're crazy and be like, no, they can't, because they're doing it and they don't want you to know that they can do that. So that's just something to think about. But when people who are Satanists or whatever, they usually practice it over and over. They're dedicated. They make that their life. It's like, but people who are godly, even me sometimes, it's like you pray, but you lack off. You have a true connection to God, but you don't go as hard as you could or whatever. So that's just something to think about. Okay, so when you have a lot of people coming against you like that or whatever, and especially when it comes to gang stalking and stuff, you have to do certain things or whatever to break it, because it's like they're doing certain things physically to have a spiritual effect. So it's like you have to do something physically to have a spiritual effect to break it, if that makes any type of sense. So if people stop, it's like people just, like I said, too harshly of critics. Your intuition or whatever, which is your connection to the Most High, will let you know if something doesn't feel right. That's how I am, and all empaths have that gift. It's like, even if you don't read tarot or whatever, God gives empaths the gifts of being able to recognize deception or whatever, because we're very, very sensitive. It's our protection. So sometimes certain things that you don't know why you know it, but you just know that it's a gift that God gave you or whatever, because you're like Him or whatever. And there's other people that are kind of grimy. They can tell if people are lying and stuff like this. People with, strong street status or whatever. But just in general, it's like God grants empaths certain gifts or whatever, and certain knowledge or whatever. And certain knowledge you just can obtain and learn on your own, just knowing who you are. You know how you have a connection to the Most High. You understand Him on a deeper level than most other people can. Me, it's like I said before, I'm not into bullying. To me, it's like bullying is very, very demonic or whatever. And to me, like, I just think, I don't know if it's just that's not how I am, but I learned early on, like in elementary school, whatever, early on, like in the second grade or whatever, and I kind of like didn't like this girl, and I kind of joined in to bully her, and then quickly I got kicked out or whatever. She got back in the group and I got kicked out. And even though that was early on, it's like I saw what they felt like, and I just agreed I just never would do that again. I never was like taunting her. I just was mean or whatever, and every time. So it's like I learned early on. I don't know if that was a first or sixth grade, whatever, but I learned early on how it feels and not to do this. So it's just not really in my character to do this. It's in my character when I see that to try to jump in and stand for justice and be like, that's not right or whatever. So, you know, it is what it is. But I just wanted to make this quick. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm in here grocery shopping. But I just wanted to make this quick video or whatever because, yeah, it's like, whew, like I said before, it's for empaths, it's very hard or whatever living in this world because this is not our home or whatever. And it's like you have to adjust. A lot of people are comfortable down here because I'm not saying this is where they belong, but it's kind of like they've mastered maybe how to deal with it so far. They like it down here. Other people that are like earth angels and not here, we don't feel comfortable here. We can learn to have a little bit of happiness while we're here or whatever and try to deal with it. But overall, it's kind of like this. Our people are not here. Our people are not from here. That's why we usually end up being scapegoating alone. An introvert would never be an introvert if they had people that thought like them or whatever and other empaths around them or whatever. That's why whenever I go to a room, my energy will start getting hyped up, and I feel real uncomfortable and jittery if I'm like around like deceptive type people. And I've already discussed that before plenty of times on my platform. But if I walk in a room full of empaths, it's not going to be any jittery or whatever. It's just going to be a comfortable feeling because it's kind of like. And it's not even just I get jittery around people, just in general. It's kind of like when you're around empaths, you feel comfortable. You feel like you can trust people. Empaths have a way of reassuring you it's okay or blah, 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 blah. That's how you're dealing with like a godly type person. They'll make you feel comfortable or whatever. So I just want to say that. Just ranting on. But I'll talk to you guys later.